I was just going to say part of the issue, well, not issue, but to speak on what I said, I think a lot of times women, for the most part, are conditioned to, like, not necessarily, like, to address problems behind closed doors. So when she, like, I can agree with her when she's saying a lot of times you guys won't see that publicly because we'll address the issue privately. And we're conditioned to do that in terms of doing the same thing when we're in relationship. Like, you don't embarrass your man. Like, even if you have an issue, you see him out of line, he may be disrespectful. In order to maintain his, maintain you from not being embarrassed, but as well as not making the issue get any worse, you learn to just be like, all right, we'll deal with it when we get home. Like, I won't ever disrespect my husband, and I can say in public to make it sound like I'll disrespect them when I get behind closed doors. It's just certain things that I'm not going to say in public, but we are going to address at a later time privately. And I think that that's the way women, for the most part, I'll say, kind of interact with each other as well.
Yeah, the conversation is definitely different from at home than in public. It should be.
Mm-hmm. Now, that is what is ideal. That is not what happens, because you give you ladies the opportunity, not you, but the ones we're talking about, you give them the opportunity to air each other's dirty laundry, and they gonna take it. So I don't know. I think it's ideal that y'all are taught to do that stuff behind closed doors, but let them get upset.
Do you think most women are like that in public with their man? Like, I'm not to say that you don't ever see a woman argue.
I think he's talking about women on women, right? I think he's talking about women on women, right?
No, I think that he was talking about
women on women. Well, I mean,
women on men. Oh, okay.
I was gonna say,
I blame men in this scenario, bro, because how your women act in public is a reflection of you. And if it's not.
It used to be. It used to be.
Why do you think that's changed, though?
It used to be.
But why do you think that's changed?
Marcus, remember I prefaced this. Remember I said, now it is a reflection on the man in some part. That's what I'm saying. We always have culpability in that. What I'm saying more so is, it used to be that you would go somewhere, you would find a woman that put herself together well. She wore makeup, she did her hair every day. She came from a good home. All of these things that you used to measure to say this woman is going to behave a certain way. But now women have too much access to want to try to be like somebody else and take on too many different character, personas in different situations. I believe we have women that are actively suffering from narcissistic personality disorder, multiple personality disorder, all of these things. Have you ever seen a woman that react to every single different situation differently? It's like she's sweet here, but she's demonic there. She's this here, she's that there. Because they're getting most of this stuff from Love and Hip Hop. So they say they want to act like little crappy. Next thing they want to act like Kimbella.
Let me just say this. It's still the man's fault. Why are you dating her?
I just said that.
So it's always going to fall back. That's like a simp king or whatever they're going to call me now. But it's still the man's fault because you should have left her. You should have never let that progress.
I agree.
You should never let that progress. It's always good. Your kids, your wife, your family is a representation of you. And if they out of pocket, it's because you have not put order into your household, bro. And it don't require to be yelling, screaming, and acting a fool. But if you walk outside with somebody that's, even with my homies, when they, like, I got guys from the block that I can't take certain places because I know I can't control them the right way.
Yeah.
That's a reflection of me if I bring them downtown and they shoot somebody because that's what they do. I can't.
That's a fact.
Can I say real quick, just to jump in, and I'm thinking big picture right now. I will say it is definitely on the men of, I don't know what era, what year, I don't know, but at one point, the men stopped possibly being men, and then they stopped, and then in turn...
Oh, no.
Wait, who said, was that Marcus or Trigger Mike?
No, it wasn't me.
I thought I was muted. I'm sorry.
That's AP. That's why you got both.
Okay, but I'm saying, like, I think we can agree that and I don't know when. We could all speculate, whether it's sexual liberation, feminism, all the rest. I don't even want to go into that right now. But I'm saying there's a time where women got out of control. Men, like we'll say boys got out of control, because we can agree that like men even have to check these boys out here. And I think what it's going to take, and again, I'm a woman, so what the hell do I know? But it's going to be hard for things to turn around in women. It's going to seem very harsh coming from men when there's correction in order. Because I would say in general, women, I think actually majority, almost everyone's used to being, getting their feelings, I guess, pampered. So then when people start enforcing what men do, whatever that looks like, we can talk about those traits, people are going to be really hurt. They're going to be really sensitive. But I feel like that's what's needed, because there is a balance that needs to be restored where people have that resilience. Men are actually men, and teaching boys growing up to be men, putting the older boys in check when they're not being men. And then women are also being put in check because they can respect men and they know not to mess around because this is a man. I know that's probably very broad, and they always yell at me in the chat because I can't talk very clearly. I'm working on it, okay? But I think you guys know what I mean.
No, that was.
Go ahead, AP. Then I have a question.
understand.
I want to piggyback on that for a second. So go ahead.
So if we're going to date back, it really goes back quite a ways in regards to what happened to the men's role inside the family, and I don't think this is the conversation for it necessarily. However, speaking on things that you don't get to see in person, men are doing that. Men are speaking to these young boys. A lot of the problem actually comes in as a mentor of young men, young boys. The problem comes in when the single mom says, "This is my boy. No, this is not the way it's going to go." And that happens more frequently than you may. That happens more frequently than you may even know. It happens actually a lot. So we can correct them. The next thing that happens is, "Did you say this to my boy?" "Well, yeah, I said that to your boy." "Don't talk to my boy like that. You're just here for Thursdays, or you're just the football coach, or whatever the case is." Those that listen are the guys that end up finishing school, going to college, and doing what they're supposed to do. Those are the conversations y'all don't see. We actually have those conversations in person. And sometimes you get a lot of pushback, not from the boy, from the parent.